Thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION World as One, and this is Speed News. Let's start with all the top stories making headlines today. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards have launched a fresh series of missile and drone strikes on targets in the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Israel, including facilities linked to US steel and aluminum industries and an Israeli arms factory. Iran says these salvos are retaliatory, a direct response to recent attacks on its own steel plants and industrial sites by US and Israeli forces. Iran says at least 8 people have been killed and nearly 100 wounded after a US strike hit the B1 bridge linking Karaj and Tehran, a major infrastructure project in western Iran. The US President Donald Trump publicly took credit for the strike, posting footage of the bridge's collapse and warning Tehran that there would be much more to follow unless Iran makes a deal. A UK-led meeting of around 40 countries has ended with a strong demand for the immediate end and unconditional reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, but without any tangible breakthrough. British Foreign Minister Yvette Cooper said Iran's actions in the Strait of Hormuz risk holding the global economy hostage and must not be allowed to continue. During the meeting, foreign ministers and representatives explored a range of possible coordinated actions, including increased diplomatic pressure through international platforms such as the United Nations, as well as the potential imposition of sanctions. The Gulf Cooperation Council has called on the United Nations Security Council to authorize the use of force to secure the vital shipping route. But the efforts face opposition from Russia, China and France. The resolution, drafted by Bahrain with backing from Gulf Arab nations, is expected to be put to a vote, though uncertainty remains over whether further diplomacy can break the deadlock. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said his country is ready to share its maritime expertise with partners willing to help reopen the critical Strait of Hormuz. He made the statement as dozens of countries held talks to form a coalition aimed at reopening the waterway. This after US President Donald Trump said securing it was a problem for other nations to solve. The ongoing US-Israeli conflict with Iran has killed over 2,000 people and disrupted global markets. Russia's defense ministry has released visuals which shows the Yars intercontinental ballistic missile being transported on mobile launchers. This during alleged drills in Siberia by the strategic missile forces. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has asked General Randy George to step down as Chief of Staff for the US Army. The reason for the request has not been made public, but reports suggest Hegseth wanted someone who would carry out his and President Donald Trump's vision for the Army. A Pentagon spokesman later posted on X that he will be retiring from his position immediately. Well, he is the latest senior military officer to be ousted during Trump's second term, and his removal as the top army officer occurs while American forces remain engaged in an ongoing war with Iran, which Trump says could continue for several more weeks. Pam Bondi has been removed as the US Attorney General in the Trump administration. Trump posted on Truth Social that Bondi will be transitioning to a much-needed and important new job in the private sector. Trump has confirmed that Todd Blanche will be acting Attorney General. Bondi and the Justice Department has faced criticism over its handling of the Epstein files, including failing to redact the names of victims. US President Donald Trump has thanked Washington planning authorities for approving White House ballroom project. Approval comes 2 days after a judge ruled that work cannot proceed without Congress's approval. The National Capital Planning Commission was chaired by one of Trump's former lawyers. The ballroom is part of Trump's broader push to reshape Washington's monumental core, which also includes plans for a 250-foot arc and a multi-year renovation of the Kennedy Center Performing Arts Complex. He has also ripped out and replaced the White House Rose Garden and added a wide array of gilding to the Oval Office. After circling Earth for a day, the Artemis 2 astronauts fired the Orion capsule's engines, propelling them towards the moon. The spacecraft is now on a 10-day mission, and the successful maneuver has placed the crew on a trajectory to enter the moon's sphere of gravitational influence by Sunday morning. They are preparing to surpass the distance record set by Apollo 13 in 1970. Myanmar junta chief Min Aung Hlaing faces a parliamentary vote today on his bid to become the country's president. This as he seeks to formalize his grip on political power 5 years after his coup against an elected government. His transition from top general to civilian president follows a recent loop-sided election won overwhelmingly by an army-backed party. Critics deride it as a sham to perpetuate military rule behind a facade of democracy. The people of Burkina Faso must forget about democracy. Country's junta ruler has made this statement in an interview broadcast on national television. Captain Ibrahim Traore took over in a September 2022 coup after toppling another junta and has muzzled dissenting voices since then. The military government dissolved the country's electoral commission last year, and then in February, the junta-led parliament dissolved all political parties whose activities had been suspended since 2022. Catholic worshippers took to the streets of Guatemala's Antigua to mark Holy Week as part of the country's century-old Easter celebrations. Dressed in purple cloak, participants carried processional floats during Holy Thursday. Antigua has been celebrating Easter this way since 1543, when Spanish missionaries brought the tradition to Guatemala. The city hosts world's largest Easter procession. Peruvians began their Holy Week observances with reenactments depicting the life of Jesus Christ, including a procession through a historic district of the capital. According to biblical accounts, Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist in the Jordan River. Participants dressed in period-style garments walked through the streets towards the Alameda de los Descalzos. Peru has one of the largest Catholic populations in the Americas. About 70% of its citizens identify as Roman Catholic. A group of critically endangered mountain bongos bred in European zoos are being prepared for transfer back to Kenya as part of a long-term effort to rebuild wild populations of one of Africa's rarest large mammals. With fewer than 50 thought to remain in the wild, conservationists thought and they hope that a combination of captive breeding, genetic management and rewilding will help prevent their extinction. Dramatic scenes unfolded on the Greek island of Crete as a powerful Saharan dust storm swept across the region, turning skies a deep orange and blanketing the landscape in thick haze. Visuals show coastal waves, rooftops and buildings shrouded in dense dust carried by strong southerly winds from North Africa. Well, according to reports, the dust plume significantly reduced visibility, forcing multiple flights to divert from one of the airports to other destinations. Authorities also warned of hazardous air quality, with dust particle concentrations reaching dangerous levels for vulnerable groups. Residents of Delhi woke up to a hazy morning as strong winds and dust storm hit the capital city. Well, the dust storm affected the visibility across the city. Strong cold winds reduced the temperature to 21 degrees Celsius, bringing relief from the recent day's heat. According to the Indian Meteorological Department, the capital city will witness a change in weather conditions over the weekend, with rain and thunderstorm also expected in the coming days. Winter rain lashed the southern Gaza Strip and flooded camps. Well, this as Palestinians tried to patch their worn-out tents to protect themselves against the rain and wind. Gaza's 2 million people have been living in a grim limbo since a ceasefire took effect nearly 6 months ago. The October 10th ceasefire aimed to halt more than 2 years of war and launch a broader process to end Hamas' 2-decade rule and rebuild Gaza. The longer-term aspects of the 20-point US ceasefire plan still have not been implemented. Asia-Pacific markets edged higher in East, trading as optimism grew over a potential reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. South Korea's Kospi led gains, jumping over 2.7%, while Japan's Nikkei 225 rose more than 1%. Investor sentiment improved after reports of Iran and Oman working on a plan to monitor transit through the key oil route. Well, meanwhile, US markets ended mostly flat after a volatile session as traders continue to track oil prices and geopolitical developments. Well, speaking of oil prices spiked sharply, with US crude jumping over 11% and Brent rising nearly 8% as fears grow over prolonged supply disruptions. The surge follows comments from Donald Trump, who vowed intensified military action against Iran in the coming weeks. Markets remain on edge as the Strait of Hormuz stays effectively shut. Analysts warn delays in restoring supply could keep prices elevated, with forecasts suggesting oil may climb as high as $130 per barrel or beyond if disruptions persist. The US dollar has rebounded sharply as renewed concerns over the Iran conflict boosted demand for safe haven assets. The move follows comments from Donald Trump again, who signaled intensified military action, dampening hopes of a quick resolution. The dollar strengthened against major currencies, including the yen and Swiss franc, while the euro and pound slipped. Markets also saw rising oil prices and cautious sentiment, with investors now turning to upcoming US job data for clues on the economic outlook and interest rate direction. New Zealand is developing a new tool to direct ChatGPT users showing signs of violent extremism towards de-radicalization. Well, the initiatives involve startup through Thoroughling, which works with firms like OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google. The system would guide flagged users to human support networks and AI chatbots designed to reduce extremist behavior. The move comes amid growing global concerns over AI's role in enabling harmful or violent content. The project is still in development with no timeline announced yet. Broadcom has appointed Amy Thuner as its new Chief Financial Officer effective June 12. Well, Thuner currently serves as Alphabet and will replace outgoing CFO Kristen Spears, who is retiring after nearly 5 years. She brings experience in financial reporting, corporate governance, and AI-related transactions. Broadcom said Spears will stay on as an advisor for 9 months to support the transition. Chipmaker is seeking strong AI demand and expects AI revenue to cross $100 billion next year despite ongoing supply constraints. Greece is set to announce a social media ban for children under 15 aimed at curbing addiction and online risks. The move follows rising concerns over cyberbullying, misinformation, and excessive screen time among young users. An opinion poll shows around 80% of people support the ban, as parents struggle to control children's online activity. Authorities say helpline calls for cyberbullying cases have more than doubled, with many users being primary school children. The plan is expected to follow models like Australia, where strict rules limit social media access for minors. Heads have started to roll in the Italian Football Federation. Gabriele Ravina has resigned as the chief of the FIGC following the national side's failure to qualify for a third consecutive World Cup. The 72-year-old announced his resignation on Thursday following a meeting held at the Football Federation's headquarters in Rome. Ravina's resignation comes amid a crisis in Italian football, with the president of UEFA warning the country could lose its role as co-host of the European Championship in 2032 unless the country upgrades its football infrastructure. Ravina took over the job in October 2018. Despite the World Cup failure, Italy did win Euro 2020 in his tenure. A vote to elect a new president will be held in June. Actor Ryan Gosling has officially stepped away from the next feature film by Oscar-winning directors Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. The duo gained fame for Everything Everywhere All at Once. The departure comes down to unavoidable scheduling conflicts, Gosling's extensive global press commitments. The untitled Universal Pictures project is still moving forward towards a targeted November 2027 theatrical release. The studio and directors actively looking to recast the lead. Illumination and Nintendo have scored another massive box office hit as the Super Mario Galaxy movie racked in $34.5 million on its opening day. The movie has secured the biggest opening day of 2026 so far. The animated sequel, directed by Aaron Howard and Michael Yelenick, brings back Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy and Jack Black, while adding Donald Glover, Brie Larson to the ensemble voice cast. Oscar-winning director Bong Joon-ho has unveiled the first look at his debut animated film Ali, currently slated for a 2027 worldwide theatrical release. Backed by a budget of roughly $60 million, it is one of the most expensive Korean films of all time. The deep-sea adventure featuring voice work from Werner Herzog and stunning underwater 3D animation by DNEG. Actor and singer Haley Steinfeld and Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen are officially parents. The couple welcomed their first child, a baby girl. The couple opted to remain private about details of their child, but the couple married last May and announced the pregnancy in December 2025. Federal prosecutors in Dallas have charged rapper Pooh Shiesty and 8 co-conspirators with armed robbery and kidnapping following a violent confrontation at a Texas recording studio in January 2026. The incident reportedly stemmed from a contract dispute regarding Shiesty's deal with 1,017 records. Well, according to the Department of Justice, Shiesty arranged a business meeting at the studio that rapidly escalated into a coordinated armed takeover where victims were held at gunpoint. Well, that is it in this edition. News and updates will continue on the other side. Keep watching WION World is One.